The Vancouver Canucks are feeling it. 4 straight wins in the bubble after losing the first game to Minnesota. Travis Green is the head coach of the Vancouver Canucks, and he has been kind enough to join us here from the Edmonton bubble on Tim and Sid. Travis, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Hey, guys. Doing good. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you on here. This is I got to say, what is the threat of overconfidence at this point? You guys are on a bit of a roll. I would assume guys are wearing the same pants, not cleaning underwear. The superstition is high. There is not you guys right now. You don't have a lot of fear in you. What's the feeling inside the team?
Guys are gaining confidence, feeling confident. I thought game 2 of the last series was a big game for our group. I thought we had a real letdown after we lost game 1, just because of the hype of the playoffs. And normally when you go into a playoff series, you usually got 3 or 4 days to prepare. And in this case, you had really probably months where you knew you were going to play Minnesota. There's a lot of buzz about the bubble and hockey starting up, and being a short series, I just felt like we had to get our team off the mat a little bit after game 1, and winning game 2 was big for our group. And I think they have a lot of belief in themselves going in. We've talked about it really probably from the beginning of the season that we felt we had a good team. It's no secret when you play in a Canadian market, you hear a lot of white noise, we like to call it, from the outside. And, there wasn't a lot of people picking us to be a playoff team. And our group, to a man, really felt that we could have a good season and believed in our group. And beating Minnesota gave the group extra confidence. And we know we're up against a real good team here. And it was a big win last night.
As a dad or a coach, you know how important confidence is. Can you feel confidence growing in your group?
Yeah. I think confidence and belief, they both go hand in hand, I guess. You have to believe that you can win and believe that you can do well to have confidence, or it's probably not real confidence. And, I think our group has both of those things going right now, and yet they're a pretty grounded group. We try to be honest with our team daily, whether we win or lose, and they're a grounded team right now.
Travis Green joining us here on Tim and Sid. I know you mentioned the white noise, and I got to jump in here, Sid, because for 2 years now, both of us have really liked your team and have said as much on air, thinking if you were healthy, you guys could do damage. And it seemed like, every time the roller coaster was heading to a good spot, there'd be another injury. And I know you lost Ferland,
right.
but do you feel like this team, healthy, is on the verge of kind of getting to a spot where maybe you guys saw it 6 months ago and where I'd like to separate my shoulder, patting myself on the back, saying that maybe we saw it too?
Yeah, I don't think you ever sit there and start thinking about patting yourself on the shoulder, but I think we had a belief in our group that if we could be healthy and our young guys obviously continuing to progress in their game and from a skill standpoint and playing a game that is conducive to winning at this time of the year, that we could be a good team. We've talked about for 3 years now, just improving every year. That was the expectations, and our goals this year were to be better than we were last year and try to make the playoffs. The expectations were to get better, and the goal is to make the playoffs. And we knew once you got there that you're giving yourself a chance, and we hope we can do this for. I think we're just starting to get going, really.
Travis Green is the head coach of the Vancouver Canucks. Canucks up 1-0 on the Blues. Game 2 tomorrow night, 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 in Vancouver. I'm looking at like every guy on your roster here. I want to ask a question about everyone here, Travis, but we don't have that kind of time with you. The one thing, I want to go to JT Miller. Now, you said after the game last night, he couldn't take the warm up, and you didn't want to get too much into it, and he obviously played. So I'll respect the answer, and I'll move on from that. What I want to ask is, because the video of him reading out the starting lineup for one of the Minnesota games went viral pretty quickly. And obviously, Jim Benning gave up a first-round pick for him, so there was an anticipation of what kind of role he could play. But in all honesty, Travis, did you anticipate him becoming such a part of the group's DNA the way he has become?
No, I didn't envision it being probably the effect that he's had on our group, this strong of an effect, especially since I didn't know him personally. But we did know that he was a competitive guy. We felt like he was at that stage in his career where he's probably matured a little bit, gone through some ups and some downs. And after I spoke to him on the phone, really heard it in his voice what he was looking for in this stage of his career. He knew he was coming to a young team with a young group of forwards that he could take on more of a leadership role. And, it's one thing to say that. And we talked about that in the summer. I told him flat out, like, you're going to get everything you want here. You're talking the talk, you got to walk the walk. And, the first step is showing up, showing your new teammates that you're in great shape and you're ready to go. And he probably came in the best shape I think he's probably ever been from what I've been told. And, he really took the ball and ran with it, and he's been good for our group. Fits in with our team. He's got some swagger, and he's got a lot of skill in his game as well. So he's been a great fit. It was a great trade by Jim, and we're happy and lucky to have him.
I heard Kevin Bieksa compare Bo Horvat to a young Jonathan Toews, and it got me thinking. What do you think of that comparison?
Yeah, I think since Bo has come in the league, he's probably heard those type of comparisons. And again, you go back to playing in a Canadian city, there is a lot of pressure, and being named a young captain has brought, new pressures onto him. We've tried with our communications with Bo is, he doesn't have to worry about being the next Toews, the next, Bergeron. I've heard all kinds of names all the time. Right. Type of player he is. Just be the best Bo Horvat you can be. And, do that every day, and good things are going to happen. And he's really picked his game up here. Probably the last 2 or 3 games might be the best hockey I've seen him play. And again, he looks confident in his game and comfortable right now. And when you have that, it usually boils over into your game.
Travis, Tim and I know a few people running the Sportsnet production crew where you are. And I texted one after seeing that ISO of Bo winking at Braden Shen, which was one of the more badass replays I've seen in a long time. Did you catch that replay? Are you cool with that? I mean, you mentioned swagger earlier with Miller. Are you fine with that?
It's easy when you catch a 1-second clip of someone winking. There's lots of things that
That's fair.
You don't see what led up to that. So I don't want to comment on it, but I think our team is probably as humble a team as you're going to find, not a cocky group. And Bo Horvat definitely isn't a cocky person whatsoever. He's, just a fantastic individual. And I'd love to see what the buildup was to that wink and what that was all involved.
Yeah, sometimes context can mean a few things.
Definitely.
Travis Green joining us here on Tim and Sid. Speaking of what we saw on the broadcast yesterday, I know you're in the midst of a playoff round where you feel like you can do some damage. You got a good young team. You're playing the defending Stanley Cup champions, but your team's been through a little bit this year. Did you get a chance to see Stecher's reaction when he scored the goal and what that may have meant to the kid and his family after going through what they went through around Father's Day?
Yeah, of course I've seen it and thought about it right away when he scored. It's sad what he's gone through, and we've actually had 2 players go through that 3 in total this season. Yeah. It's not something you hope anyone has to go through ever. And, I think they're all lucky that they have great teammates around them and surround themselves, and to even start to think about what they've gone through, what Troy's gone through. Wouldn't be fair for me to even try to guess. And I know there's some days where it's really tough for him and, well, for all three of them. I remember playing and what your parents mean to you on a daily basis when you're in the NHL, and even talking to them. I know Troy was really close with his dad and talked to him a lot about hockey, and I can only imagine what he's feeling at this time of year when he doesn't have that to lean on. So it was emotional, I think is the best way to say it. I think his teammates felt it. I know I did, especially after the game. And it's touching, it's sad, and it's in a way it was a good feeling as well.
It's funny because I saw, the Pettersson grabbing a hold of him and giving him a big hug during the game. And I've been through some things in life, and I've learned that you can really discover a lot in the people around you when you hit lows. And Troy's comments to me about his teammates really stuck out, about the bench showing him love, and then hearing what Horvat had to say, hearing what Markstrom had to say. You've been around a lot of teams in your time in the National Hockey League. That seems to me to be a pretty mature response from a relatively young group.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me, I'll say that. We've got a group that really enjoys being around each other. Been on teams that were really good that, maybe weren't as close off the ice, but were really close on the ice. And this team is probably the closest team I've been around playing or coaching. Just how they care about each other. And they've gone through a lot in the last year with three of our players losing their fathers. And, something to be said for having teammates that care about you, not just as hockey players, but as people and individuals. And it's really nice to see as a coach, to be honest.
Right, Travis Green, head coach of the Vancouver Canucks, here on Tim and Sid. And here to all of that, Travis. Quinn Hughes. I try not to read stats that compare one player to another too often, Travis, because it's just you can do anything with a stat. But there's one with Bo Bichette that we're going to talk about with Buck Martinez here in the next segment that caught my eye last night. The other was about your player. Quinn Hughes is the first defenseman in NHL history to get 7 points in his first 5 playoff games since Raymond Bourque in 1980. Now, there's a section of our listening audience who aren't as familiar with Raymond Bourque as maybe the three of us. Trust me, kids. Just check the numbers. Just check the numbers. Pretty good. Were you expecting this kind of start out of Quinn? He's talented. He's determined. Were you expecting this, though?
No. I think really from day one, he's surprised us, over-exceeded what we were hoping we'd get in a player and a young player. And it really probably started in the 5 games he played the year before when he came in after his college season. And he played, I think, 14 minutes his first game. And I remember talking with Bomber after the game and just saying, hey, let's give him a little more next game. And it was 16, 18, 20. And we went into Minnesota or into St. Louis the last game of the year, and they had to win a game. It meant something in the standings. So they were on, they needed to win. And he played 22 minutes that night and played great in a tough building. And I think it was then that we really got excited. I think as coaches, sometimes you're excited about a player, but in the back of your mind, it's always a show me, don't tell me kind of thing. And again, he's just blossomed into a really good player, and he's super talented on the ice. But he's, the great thing about a couple of our young guys is how humble they are off the ice and how coachable they are. You'd never know if this kid was a 1 or 2 defenseman or an 8 or 9 defenseman, and just comes to the rink every day with a smile on his face and is able to be coached. Doesn't get too affected by things. Just a great kid to coach.
Travis Green joining us here on Tim and Sid. Last one for me, and I've always been taught that you never underestimate the heart of a champion. And judging from what I know about you, you won't. but what do you need to do to keep the upper hand against St. Louis?
Well, I mean, they came hard at us last night. You could You could feel it on our team. We're going to have to get better. That's a really good hockey team, and I don't even have to talk about them. When you win the Stanley Cup, there's not much you have to say. Our team's got a lot of respect for them, but they also got a lot of belief in themselves. We'll meet with our team again tonight. We'll talk about how we played last game, and then we'll talk about how we're going to win the next game. And that's all we really worry about. There's no doubt in our mind, much like the last series, but we're facing a really good team here. They're going to get better as the series goes on. And you got to raise your game every playoff series to win a series as the series goes on. And we're going to have to raise our game again for tomorrow.
We don't have much more time with you, Travis, but I don't really have a question, but I would just like to acknowledge and thank you for one of the best visuals of this entire postseason, your reaction to Tanev's winner in Game 4. I know it was just a natural a reaction of unbridled joy for someone in your position, but it is it was one of the great, because you're not Captain Serious, but you are business. Travis Green behind the bench is business, and it was just kind of cool to see that release, especially after a big win like that. So that was fantastic. Congratulations on that. I know you feel like you're just getting started like every other team. Good luck tomorrow night, and thank you for giving us the time here, Travis. We appreciate it.
Awesome. Okay, thanks for having me, guys. That was good.
All right. Be well. Stay well.